I'm Hillary Hendershot, your host, and this is Profit Boss Radio, episode 108. Profit Boss Radio is your weekly wealth mastermind. Profit Boss is also a community and a movement for women who are ready to take control of their money, break the glass ceiling, and give ourselves permission to finally have enough. Want the secrets of wealth to be yours? This is the place. I'm Hillary Hendershot. I'm a certified financial planner running a leading advisory firm for women, and I'm sharing with you real stories from real life and real women who are making it happen. Forget Wall Street. Let's do this, ladies. Welcome to this special Mother's Day episode of Profit Boss Radio. This episode will air on May 8th, 2018. Mother's Day is Sunday, May 13th, 2018. And as a special little different kind of episode from what I usually air, I reached out to some friends who also happen to be women, who also happen to be business owners, who also happen to be mothers, who finally happen to be women that I love and trust and think very highly of. And I asked them to talk a little bit about motherhood. I asked them to answer some specific questions, but in their own way, in a free form kind of format. And so they did. And I'm going to tell you, I've been listening to these recordings and I think we hit the ball out of the park on this one. They're tear jerkers. I was pretty much choked up or full on crying through listening to every single one of them. And I'm just so honored and grateful that these women contributed to the episode. So I thought I would begin by doing my own interview about me and motherhood, and that I would kick it off. So here we go. Okay, first question. What legacy do I want to leave with my daughter? I have one daughter, Harlan. If you listen to the show, you know that. So what do you most want them to know or believe in this world? I want Harlan to be super empowered. I want her to fully embody that being capable and powerful is feminine. I truly hope to raise her without body issues. I don't know how much that's my job because I don't think my mother has them, but I sure got them. And I know that they're a distraction at best and deconstructive at worst. You know, they're just sort of very distracting. So I am going to great lengths to be body positive around her. And, we'll talk about health and activity and athletics and none of the other junk. I really want Harlan to know and experience that she can create her world. She doesn't necessarily get to choose her circumstances, right? Like life comes at you a particular way, but you sure as heck can impact those circumstances, and she can definitely choose how she reacts to them. And I want her to know that and feel her facility around being powerful in her own world. I want her to be fully accountable for her choices in her life. I want her to be someone who admits fully to mistakes and doesn't avoid the consequences of those mistakes. I think living an accountable life is a gift that you can give yourself, and that even though it's never easy to say, well, I blew it, I really made a big mistake, and now I need to take responsibility for those consequences, that it does give you a higher quality life, and that it makes certain things possible that aren't possible if you shirk responsibility. And that's just how that goes. I want Harlan to feel unconditionally loved by me and her father and herself. And I'll be totally honest, I'm not totally sure how to accomplish those things, but that is who I want Harlan to be. And I want her to experience that her cup is full so that she can give her gifts and talents and love away, so that she can be someone who can leave this world a better place than she found it. And I would consider that a big parenting win. All right, what specific things do I, as a working mom, give my kids, Harlan, in order to have quality and meaningful time with their mom? Okay, so it's pretty simple. I schedule it, literally. I have her on my calendar, and when those appointments are booked it's called baby mama time, literally on my calendar, baby mama time. I don't break that appointment. I have an hour or two with her every morning before my workout. And there are other times on my calendar, certain evenings every week. And I say no to things so I can be with her. I take impromptu time sometimes. I occasionally take her out to breakfast on a work day, but it's about blocking time and honoring that time. I mean, I love to dance with her and talk with her. And I admit I'm not the best at playing 2-year-old games or watching Disney movies, but I put my phone away and maybe I put on some music and I throw myself into it fully to the extent that I can. I mean, I love shopping for 2-year-old clothes with her and I love going out to eat, frankly, because I love being served and I love that someone else gets paid to clean up after her. So that's like my favorite thing to do is come home after work in the evening, scoop her up from the nanny and take her out to a nice dinner. And we're just lucky. She's really affable baby. She does well in restaurants. And there have been a couple times I thought, I wish I had not brought you here. I admit there are a few mom fails in the books, but usually we do great. And at this point, in terms of time, I'm just totally clear that just like every one of my dollars gets a job, every one of my minutes gets a job. And so I allocate my time very carefully. I have, a very specific calendaring schedule. My whole team knows it. They're all on board with it. And I've sort of designed it to work so that I can have a life that I love and I can spend time with my baby and not get taken over by my business or the other things in life that can do that. And I think the thing that you have to be willing to do in order to have that work is there are times when there are certain things that don't get done. There are errands that don't get run. There are cars that don't get washed. There are bills that don't get paid. And I'm not saying I don't pay my bills. They get paid late, right? I pay all my bills, okay, to be clear. But I'm saying that when you put the big rocks in, and I hope you know that story about the science teacher with the jar and the big rocks and the middle-sized rocks and the little rocks in the sand. When you put the big rocks in, sometimes there are rocks that don't fit. And that's the trade-off. And it's like when you put yourself on a spending plan, sometimes there are things you really want that you don't buy, and that's the trade-off. And I'm pretty okay with that. I admit those things niggle at me. They cause me a little bit of emotional distress sometimes, but I make it work. Next question is, as a mother, how are you teaching your kids about money? What specific things are you doing to empower them financially? So I know this is going to surprise you, but there are aspects of this I have to admit I haven't figured out. I mean, how could I sit in an ivory tower and say exactly how Robert and I are going to teach Harlan about money with her when she's only 2 years old and she's my first child? So I know what the books say. I know what I say on this podcast. And there's a little bit of Harlan's going to have to teach us. I mean, I know that we're going to be careful not to spoil her. She certainly is going to grow up with parents who have more resources than either Robert or I did, right? So there's more that's possible. But I think that giving a child everything they want or spending without regard is probably a fast track ticket to spoiled kid land. So we're going to be careful not to spoil her. And that means teaching her trade-offs. Like you can have this or you can have that, but not both. And also letting her want things and not get them. I mean, I think suffering and longing build character, and that girl needs both. So, Robert and I will talk about money in front of her, and we'll include her in the talks that in ways that make sense. I do think that we'll probably allow her to make spending plans for certain amounts of money for things like her activities, clothing, school supplies, because I want her to understand, A, how much things cost, and B, how to prioritize and ask for the things that she wants. And I think that that's really important. So I will let her, I'm not afraid to let her fall down and bloody her nose, metaphorically, because mistakes are how we learn, right? My husband is a tenured professor. So one of the benefits is, her college is paid for, but we'll probably ask her to earn her spending money. And we could pay for that. We could save for her college. We don't have to pay the tuition, so we could pay her spending money. But I think it's important for people to start to learn to pay for their lives and to watch what they spend. I'm going to talk with her a lot about entrepreneurship, and I'm probably going to start encouraging it at a very young age. I mean, entrepreneurship has been very good for Robert and myself. So I really want her to relate to herself like a generator of wealth. Next question. Can you think of a specific teachable moment with your kids when you were able to give them a lesson about money? Okay, so I sent this question out to all these ladies who, in retrospect, I realize have pretty young kids. And so I think probably Courtney and Amber, the productivity expert, because there are two Ambers you'll hear from, but I think those two have the oldest kids, and I think they're 7 and 8 years old. So maybe this question wasn't the best for this audience, but I think all the ladies did a great job at handling it. And I will say there was one time Harlan pulled my wallet out of my purse. And by the way, since then, she knows not to touch my iPhone, touch my laptop, or touch my purse. And she was pulling dollars out of my wallet. And I said, do not put that in your mouth. And then it was like the words came out of my mouth. And I thought, oh my gosh, did I just imprint her about money, right? And I was a little horrified, but I checked it out. I think we're safe. I still don't think she has any idea what money is. Of course, she's 2, so she doesn't have language for that. So I'm still waiting for that moment when, she gets her money operating system. I'm sure I'll broadcast about it on the podcast, right? So I don't know that Harlan is old enough for us to have had a teachable moment with her. Next question, what do you want to say to your own mom this Mother's Day? So I am a little lucky. I've already done the heavy lifting in terms of I have apologized to my mother for being a horrible teenager. So I don't think I need to say that at this point, but I would definitely say to my mom, thank you for the roots and the wings that you gave me. And thank you for all the things you did to set the foundation for a possibility of my success and happiness. And it took a while, but I think I found it. I hope you enjoy this very special episode of Profit Boss Radio for Mother's Day.
Hi, I'm Megan Hale, a relationship and leadership coach and the founder of Wild and Holy, where I work with coaches, therapists, helpers, and healers to have their own breakthroughs so they can show up braver and help others have their own. I'm the host of 2 podcasts, The Enoughness Revolution and Wild and Holy Radio, and I'm also a mama to 2 boys under 2. One is 4 months, and my oldest will be 2 at the end of the month. Hillary asks, what legacy do I want to leave my children? What do I most want them to know or believe in this world? For me, I want to leave a legacy of bravery with my boys, to do the hard thing, the compassionate thing, the thing that grows them, the thing that helps them believe in themselves, the thing that helps them learn how to change the world with love. I also want them to know that they are special and also not special. I know that that might sound contradictory, but I want them to know and trust that they have unique gifts to give the world, and so does everybody else. To always seek their own gifts and be a powerful mirror for others to see their own. Hillary asks, what specific things do I do as a working mom to give my kids quality and meaningful time with me? My boys are tiny, 4 months old and 2 years old. So right now, quality time looks like singing and dancing in the morning with my oldest, lots of eye contact and cuddles with my youngest, and long walks to the park about 3 to 4 times a week. And meaningful time for me right now is all about connection and sharing their world with them. And to be honest, it's not always so easy for me to find ways to connect with my toddler, but it's an area where I'm growing right now as he awakens more and more to the world around him. We're starting to be able to communicate more and have some conversation. And play right now is huge, which is a great excuse to slow down and make time to be silly. And I think my boys are teaching me just as much as I'm teaching them right now. Hillary asks, as a mother, how am I teaching my kids about money, and what specific things am I doing to empower them financially? They are still far too little, I think, to grasp the concept of money, but already I'm being really mindful of how I talk about money around them. For me, I've done a lot of rewriting money stories and beliefs from when I was a little girl. And I think one of the most powerful ways that we can empower our children is to have a healthy relationship to money and investing ourselves. And I'm really excited to see how this evolves as they get older and starting to get creative with earning money and how to invest it. Hillary asks, can I think of a specific teachable moment with my kids when I was able to give them a lesson about money? Well, in my toddler's world, money right now comes in the form of food or yogurt pouches. Like he seriously loves those things. So right now we're starting by making decisions between different types of food, like how do you want to spend your appetite? And I'm hoping that I'm laying a good foundation there when it comes to making some wise investments. And next up, we're going to be working on a little bit of delayed gratification, but I am wading into those waters very hesitantly because we are right in the middle of toddler tantrums. And whew, it is tough to be with that level of emotion. So I'm going to give myself some grace on that one. Hillary asks, what do I want to say to my own mom this Mother's Day? Wow. My mom has gone over and beyond for me this past year, especially since my youngest was born, by not only being an amazing grandmother to my babies, but being a really present mother to me. She's shown me that mothering never really stops. It just kind of shifts and evolves as we give our kids more and more room to become who they are. And I am so incredibly lucky to have a mom who gives me that space, who is a constant encourager of who I am and who I'm becoming and my dreams in this world. And she is the person that I can count on the most, besides my husband, to be there when this parenting, dream chasing, adulting journey feels really hard. My mom's taught me 1,000,001 things, but the thing that she's taught me the most is to keep showing up and to love fiercely. And I hope I do the same for my boys.
Hi, I'm Jessica Rhodes. My business is Interview Connections, where I work with business owners, coaches, consultants, and finance experts to book them on podcasts so they can expand their reach and build their brand. And I'm also the host of Rock the Podcast and Women's Splaining. I am the mom of 2 children, a girl who is 2 and my son is 5. The legacy I want to leave with my children is that of compassion and also independence. I want my children to know that loving their life, both when they're working and when they're not, is absolutely possible. Some of the ways that I spend meaningful time with my kids is I choose to work at an office outside my home. So that way, when I leave the office, my work stays there and it doesn't kind of, flow into the evening. I also coach my son's soccer team, and as much as I can, I just play with them. I get down on the floor, I build Legos with them, and I find that when I'm on their level playing with them, they talk to me more and they listen better. So as a mother, I really enjoy teaching my kids about money, and they're still a little bit young, but my son, who is 5, is starting to grasp it a little bit more. Really, I find that the lessons about money come from, number one, just talking openly about our family finances. And again, they're still pretty young, so they don't know that much, but it does come up, and my husband and I are talking about it. I don't try to hide it from them that we're paying off debt or what our income looks like when they ask for things like they want a toy or something. I let them know that, money right now, it's not unlimited. We have priorities and we have bills and we have debt to pay. So we can save for it. You can earn it, or you can put it on your birthday wish list or your Christmas list. But, we don't have unlimited money to just buy anything we want at any time. So I try to keep that lesson going. And then a specific time where I thought the lesson was really good is we were at the grocery store and we were in line. And if you have young kids or, you probably know that that is a terrible place to be because all they can see is rows and rows of candy and they just want it. And this particular day, my son really wanted candy. And I told him, no, we are not buying candy right now. Get your hands off of it. And kind of made a scene. I said, no, we are not buying candy. I'm checking out. And so we leave the store, we go into the car, and I realized he took that candy and did not pay for it. So I was really angry, but I tried to keep my cool. So I walked him back into the store. He had to return it. I told him he had to apologize. He would not say anything. So, I was like, he is sorry. We handed it back to the customer service person. And on the drive home, I took that opportunity to explain, why you can't steal. And I didn't want to just yell at him and put him in timeout because he doesn't understand. He just thought, it's right here. It's not my level. I'll just take it. He doesn't get that putting a piece of plastic in a machine is paying, So I explained kind of how a business operates. I said the store needs money so they can pay for the things that we buy so we can then buy it. And they also need money so they can pay the people who are there working. And, I said, Mommy and Daddy go to work every day and we earn money. So we have money to pay for our house and for our food and for the things that we buy. So it was an oversimplification, but I just wanted to explain to him kind of how money moves through businesses to people. And it was really, I thought, a great opportunity for him to learn that lesson about money, that, how money flows through our society. He even said, oh, well, what about people who can't work? And then I kind of explained that we also pay taxes because there's programs for people who, if they're not able to work, there's, unemployment and stuff like that. So it was actually, I was angry that he stole, but then it opened up a great opportunity to teach him this lesson and to start to get him to, understand how businesses work and how money works. And what I want to tell my mom on this Mother's Day is that you did a great job. And I am so thankful for how selfless you have always been for your kids and for everyone around you. Happy Mother's Day.
Human connection. We all want to feel like we have a place to belong, right? When it comes to investing your money, it may feel like there isn't a place for you. Maybe you met a financial advisor who just wanted to sell you another product. They didn't listen. They didn't get to know you. There's been no place for you as an investor until now. My team and I launched Ignite Investing to give our ProfitBoss listeners a place to belong. This is your place to start finally building your wealth with people who actually care about you. If you have $25,000 saved, you can start actively building your wealth now with Ignite Investing. Most importantly, you get human connection from real-life advisors. Me and my team, not some call center or robo-advisor where they get to know you from the previous call notes on their computer screen. We want to have a real relationship with you. We want you to feel comfortable talking to us, to be connected to your advisor so you can know you matter. We want to know your financial goals, listen to your questions, hear your concerns, and help create a customized plan with you for your financial future. So if you're tired of being just another number, there's a place for you with Ignite Investing. Visit igniteinvesting.com to learn more and see if Ignite Investing is right for you. That's igniteinvesting.com. And when you're ready, click on Get Started today. I'm pleased to introduce to the ProfitBoss Radio audience a wonderful sponsor, creditrepair.com. And if you've got anything but beaming pride about your credit score, I want you to give them a call. CreditRepair.com can help make sure that there's nothing on your credit report that shouldn't be there. I can tell you from personal experience, though, full disclosure, I didn't use CreditRepair.com, but I can tell you Credit Repair works. It worked for me, and I now have a near perfect credit score. Visit their website at CreditRepair.com or call 1-833-333-2282 today to learn more.
Hello, Hillary, and thank you for having me on your show. My name is Amber De La Garza, and I'm the productivity specialist. I work with entrepreneurs who want to improve their personal productivity to increase their profits. And I do this by helping them take consistent, massive, focused action in their business. The best way to find me is on my podcast called Productivity Straight Talk, where I give you the straight talk on how to be more productive, get out of your own way, and increase your profits. Hillary, I'm so honored that you asked me to do a segment on your special Mother's Day episode. I am a mom of a 7-year-old son, Eric, as well as a business owner. And so while I often tackle the topics in my own business about how you find balance between both personal and professional, I am so happy that you are tackling this topic on the ProfitBoss Radio. I thought that after reviewing some of the questions to be highlighted in this segment, that the best way to go about this is to invite my son on with us. So I'm going to share some of my answers to these questions and ask him to share his answers to the questions so that you can get a really good idea of what it's like being a mom and a business owner. The one thing that I want most for my son to know about the world or about what is possible is simply to believe in anything is possible. I just spoke at his school last week, and as I was speaking on Career Day, I had realized that I had never met a business owner until I was almost a junior in high school. That when growing up, I knew nobody that actually did anything remotely close to what I'm doing today. And I hope that through him seeing me do what I do and doing business and coming up with new challenges and growing and opportunities, that he's really able to see that anything is possible. So next is the question of, what do I specifically do as a working mom to give my son quality, meaningful time? I have some very specific examples, but actually yesterday, my son came up to me and had something very, very specific to say that just touched my heart. And I thought, you know what, maybe I'll have him share it on with us today. So he's going to share what he came up and told me yesterday.
Hi, I told my mom that I like how she makes quality time with me and my dad, because I know that some business owners don't have time to spend time with their family, but my mom breaks out time so that she's able to spend time with us specifically.
Well, there you have it from a 7-year-old. He literally walked up to me yesterday and told me that, and my heart just opened up. It was amazing to realize that my son had that insight, that he just was able to observe that and then not just observe it, but walk up to me and give that to me as a compliment as a mom. One of the real ways that I ensure that I'm carving out quality time with my family is to ensure that I schedule the time. So for example, today, my son wanted to spend our quality time watching the Pink Panther. Now, we could have gone to the movies. We could have gone to this play zone area. I gave him a lot of options, but he chose to spend time just cuddling and watching a movie that he's wanted to watch. And for me to make that possible, I ensured that I had this time scheduled on my calendar. And my son saw that I was cutting off of work early this afternoon so that we could have this uninterrupted time. Then now we're popping on to record this podcast. And another way that I make quality time is that I often include my son in my business because I am the business owner and because I can really make my business however I choose. I choose to find opportunities in which I can involve him so that he's always learning and just trying new things. And then we get to do these together. So this happened to be something on my to-do list today. And I happened to look at it and say, this is something I could use and do with my son. That's how we find quality time. And the other thing is that we're always having conversations about quality time versus quantity time in our house. In preparation of recording this segment, I also asked my son, what have I taught you about money? And I think that he's going to share with us what he believes I've shared with him about money.
What my mom told me is that don't buy stuff that you don't need. Don't waste your money on stuff that is useless. Don't waste your stuff that you just want. Put your money into stuff that you need.
I, of course, asked him more detailed questions, and he gave me great examples of, well, Mom, you know that me being a 7-year-old, all I'd really want is toys. But what you teach me is to save my money to utilize on things that I really need or that I would really enjoy in the future, not just a toy that I like today. So I guess that's what I've taught him about money, is how to save and how to be discerning with what purchases he makes with the money that he has. Teachable moments in regards to money, I really utilize any time that money comes up as a teachable moment. We're very open in our home about how much money things cost. He has this little dance coming up and it was $25 for both of us to go. And I said, this is $25. Do you think it's worth it? Do you want to go? And he was able to answer yes or no. But there's been other things that he's come home with from school. And I told him what the price was. And I said, do you think that this is worth the price? And he would say no, or he'd say yes. And so just having open conversations about money, about how mom and dad earn money, how we choose to spend our money or invest our money, is just about having continual conversations that are age appropriate. So there you have it, Hillary. Thank you so much for having us on your podcast. I am so grateful. And until next time, have a productive day.
Hey there, I'm Emylee Williams, and I'm the CEO of Think Creative Collective, where I work with creative entrepreneurs to grow a freaking profitable and sustainable business online. I am the mama of Penelope. She's 16 months, who we welcomed home through adoption back in 2017. So in regards to legacy or what I want Penny to believe most in this world, I think being a small business owner and entrepreneur and being raised by a lot of women and a lot of family members who pursued their own thing, I was taught at a really young age that I can literally do anything. That sometimes you just have to look at your circumstances and your skill set and your opportunities and make the best of it and make it work for you and make it work for your family. And a lot of my family had to do that out of pure necessity. There was no other option. And I think that's where a lot of small business owners and a lot of entrepreneurs kind of get that grit. That's where that comes from. So if I can give her anything, even without a scarcity skill set or opportunities, I still want her to leave with that type of attitude. I want her to look at an obstacle or a roadblock or a scenario and say, okay, how can I get past this? Or how can I use this to my advantage? Or how can I make this work? And then if she doesn't have the skill sets already to tackle it, that she's confident enough to go figure that piece out. So if I can give her anything, 100%, it would be that I can make anything work attitude. So specific things that I do as a working mom to give Penny quality and meaningful time with me. This was super important for me because as someone who was raised by a single mom who held multiple jobs throughout my childhood and always kind of being second to the job, right? Like we have to have the money. We have to pay the bills. We have to get food. We have to get clothes, whatever the necessities are. And so it was never an option for her to say no to those things. And so I really wanted to create an environment where there was an option for me to say no to work if Penny needed me to. But there was also flexibility and freedom in my schedule where I didn't have to feel like I had to say yes to work so I could say yes to her instead. And so I decided to only work 4 days a week once Penny was here. And really this started shifting when she was about 4 months old, where I was trying to pull the double brain duty of work and dealing with her and then doing house stuff all in the same day, sometimes the same hour. And it wasn't working. I was feeling overworked and frazzled and stressed out. And I think there's a lot of assumptions made from working moms, especially when we work from home, that we also get the opportunity to have our kids at home with us. And I know some people make this their reality and it works well, but it didn't work for us. And I really felt like I was trying to fit us in a box of this dream world of having a baby at my feet and getting stuff done at the computer. But in reality, like that's not how I'm most productive. And that's not what my business needs. And that's not what my community needed. And so recognizing what those changes were, I decided to take Mondays off from work. And I even tried to sneak in like, well, let me just do a couple of emails or let me do this small project really quickly. But I learned that I truly wanted to be off for her. And whatever that looked like, whether it's being lazy all day and not getting out of our pajamas and playing at home and napping and doing nothing, or if it's running errands that need to be done like the grocery store or doctor's appointments or whatever, or if it's kid-based activities, or if it's my hobbies, like going to the bookstore or the coffee shop, we kind of like mix and mingle what those activities look like on any given day based on what we want to do. But it's never truly centralized around just Penny, and it's never truly centralized around just me. And I think that's the benefit of having that blended day, because she gets to see the best of both worlds. She gets to see that there's an identity outside of me and work, and me and her, and me and household stuff, because it's all kind of intermixed. So as a mother, how am I teaching Penny about money? Well, I do think she's, a little young to kind of grasp a lot of the concepts. She's 16 months. But growing up, I was not taught about money at all. Quite the opposite. I was taught about the lack of money and the constant, you always have to work for money and there's never enough money. And truly the form of money that I was most familiar with for decades was borrowed money, was debt. And I knew for sure that that's not what I wanted for my life or for my daughter. And so we've been making shifts even long before she was here to not make that our reality. But I think it's stuff like talking about budgeting and talking about savings. When we have any budgeting conversations, she's in the room, so she gets to be a part of that. She begins to know where money comes from and where it goes and what its role in our life is. We have some education accounts set up for her. So perhaps when she's older, giving her the opportunity to take a peek at those and seeing how they work and the purpose of those. The purpose of saving for something big, a vacation or a big purchase, and waiting for something and being sure that you know that you want it. That was something I still battle with today, of that instant gratification in regards to spending money to get that happiness. And if I can mostly teach her the opposite of a lot of stuff that I learned, then those are the type of conversations that I want to be having around money. So finally, what do I want to say to my mom on this Mother's Day? I don't think there's a big enough thank you for her and for her mom and for her mom. There's a long line of really, really strong women in my family that made really strong women. And at first I was really scared to be in that company. I actually didn't want a girl for a while because I was scared of that role and what that meant. But the sacrifices that my mom and her mom have made for us to have a little bit of a different life have led to me being able to provide a really different life for my daughter. And I can't thank my mom enough for the amazing selfless decisions that she's made her entire life, like putting off her education or putting off specific jobs, relationships, hobbies, happiness, in order for me to have something different. And I think if all of that has led to me being able to create a life where I don't have to make those intense sacrifices for Penny to still be happy, I think that's the entire point. And if that's everything that they were working for over the past decades, then I think it's finally paying off. And so for that, I say thank you and pat yourself on the back today, Mom. Give yourself a round of applause for all of the hard work that you've done. Has been showing you, hopefully, that it's paying off for a while. But I think truly in this new generation of Penny, that it's showing itself on a level that maybe you've never even thought was possible. So thank you, Mom, and I love you.
Hey there, my name is Amber Vilhauer, and my company is NGNG Enterprises, which stands for No Guts, No Glory. I get the pleasure of working with authors, speakers, and coaches to help them build their business online. And I do that through website development as well as marketing and sales training. I have a beautiful, amazing son who is 1.5 years old. His name is Clay, and I'm happy to share my experience, even while all of this is still so fresh and new to me, and I'm sure I have a lot to learn. But so far, when I think about the legacy that I really want to leave to Clay and how I want to inspire him to show up in this world, I'm really trying to impart to him, awareness to see the good in others, that feeling that you can do absolutely anything that you put your mind to, that you can make an impact in this world. We have a lot of conversations, even at this ripe young age, where we're looking at the positive in the situation or looking at things with the lens of love and honoring others, supporting others, being mindful of others. And I would also say that I'm really hoping to show him that you can work smart and not just hard, and to really enjoy each moment of the journey. And these are all things that I'm still learning, implementing myself, things that I strive for. But I really feel like I've learned so much just in the process of having a child and growing a business. And I really want him to see that it's about maximizing each moment in each day instead of just constantly striving for goals and making sacrifices and working hard and feeling stressed out along the way, which is a lot of people's experience. And it is kind of a crazy world when you're a working mom and trying to really be present and spend meaningful time with your child. And so some of the specific things that I do to try to make sure that Clay feels my presence and that nurturing on such a deep level. Little simple things throughout the day, honestly, just those moments when we connect eye to eye and we just share that space for a moment, even across the room. Let's say that I'm rapidly trying to make dinner because I'm behind schedule or whatever, and Clay's maybe across the room reading his books. And I just want to capture a moment where I'll say something, he'll look over at me, and he knows that I'm present. He knows that I'm paying attention to him. He knows that that love is there, even though I'm busy doing other things. But I've also found that I don't want to be glued to my phone when I'm with him. So I don't want to be checking email and on phone with clients. I have very strict guidelines where I really try to save those phone calls and emailing or Facebooking or whatever it is for when he's not around. And when he is around, I'm soaking up every single moment that I can with him, knowing that that time is really precious. And to that point of screen time, I limit his screen time too. He barely ever is in front of a screen. We're either out, taking a walk. We're looking at the flowers. We're pointing out the birds. We're going to the zoo. We are playing in a sandbox. We are reading our books. It's very much time to nurture and develop him and be present with him. Even when it's things that I feel bored with or like, okay, let's move on to something more exciting and more advanced. But I have to remember to kind of rein myself back in and pause and remind myself to do what interests him at this level. So if what interests him the most is driving his little tractor around on the floor for the 800 millionth time, instead of just being bored with that, I check myself and I think, no, this is important time to his development and to his confidence and security. I don't want to just be bored and, make him feel uncomfortable about it, or that he has to rush through these moments where he's really excited. So I think pausing is really crucial. Beyond just spending this quality time with him and wanting to impart wisdom to him that helps to not only, leave a legacy to my kids, and knowing that he's going to be set up with the right tools and wisdom to have an excellent life moving forward. Part of that is this conversation of money. And, I really haven't been able to go too deep in that topic with Clay because he's only a year and a half old. He doesn't even know money exists probably. But, I feel like he has to be really imparting or understanding pieces of it. I mean, if nothing else, I'm kind of teaching him at this subconscious level because my husband and I have a whole lot of conversations about money in front of Clay. So we're talking about investing and saving and leveraging assets and working smarter, not harder, and how to grow the business. A lot of entrepreneurial conversations happen around the house. And I do that in a positive light. So I'm never really negative about money or stressed about it or bringing anxiety up. It's always positive conversations, exciting conversations, and how we're going to work smarter, more strategically to grow our wealth to leave more of a legacy for Clay. So while I can't necessarily directly teach him about money and I don't have specific teachable moments around it, I do think that just the fact that we are talking about it openly, that it is something that our family is excited about, I think that's going to pay off at some point, right? I do see teaching him entrepreneurial lessons at a young age. I mean, he's already saving and we already are investing on his behalf with a college fund. So I feel like that's definitely definitely going to be a big part of our future together, and having a respect for money, liking money, and not just being quick to spend it and blow it on stupid things, but really appreciating it and honoring it and growing it. So those are all things that are going to be a part of our future. And, if I had to say something to my own mother on Mother's Day, I think I would start by saying, I'm sorry. Just the very nature of becoming a mother, it has totally opened my eyes to her experience as a single mom, raising 2 kids and giving us so much, and how hard she worked. I totally took it for granted. I had no awareness of the other side. Not to say that I didn't show her appreciation, love, and support and all of those things over the years, but now it's different. And so I just constantly am giving love and appreciation and gratitude to my mom. So those are all the things that I continue to do and will do again on Mother's Day. Really appreciate the opportunity to share some of my experience with you. I hope it helps, and maybe we can circle back as Clay's a little bit older and circle back to those teachable moments. Thanks a lot.
Hi, my name is Courtney Townley, and I am the owner of graceandgrit.com. I refer to myself as a mover, a shaker, and a healthy people maker, because really for more than 20 years now, I have been helping women take better care of themselves with more ease and consistency. I'm also the host of the Grace and Grit podcast, which is really a platform to help women expand the conversation of what it means to be a healthy woman, way beyond fad diets and extreme exercise programs and a number on the scale. I also have the great privilege of being the mother of a spicy little redheaded boy named Liam Walker Townley. He's 8 years old, and he really is the light of my life. So the legacy I hope to leave my son would really be to make his life meaningful, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's what we all hope at the end of our life, is that our life mattered and meant something. And I think one of the best ways we can do that is to engage with work that lights us up, because if it lights us up, it's going to light others up. And I also want my son to understand that money is really a gateway to freedom on so many levels. Money gives us the power of choice, and it gives us a lot of opportunity to explore and create and support. And so I really want him to have that understanding of money, that it's not just for stuff, it is really a vehicle for opportunity. The specific things I do as a working mother to give my son quality and meaningful time. Well, there's a few things, but I'll say this, that every morning before my son goes to school, I dance with him to the tune of one song. And I do it for a lot of reasons. I do it because I am very adamant about raising a son who is not afraid to be on the dance floor. I do it because I want my son to be really comfortable in his body, expressing himself through movement. And mainly I do it because I just think there's no better way to start the day. After we've danced to a song, both of us have really great energy, and we're happy, and we're just in a really good space to step into the day. Another thing that I do that I really think creates quality time with my son, and I learned this from the biomechanist Katie Bowman, who I have followed for years, but it's an exercise where at the end of the day, you ask each other, what was your rose, what was your thorn, and what was your bud? And the rose, of course, is the great thing that happened in your day. The thorn is the not so great thing. And the bud is something that you're really looking forward to tomorrow. So those are two really simple ways that I try to create some real quality time with my son every day. They're simple things, but they go a really long way in helping us to better our relationship and create some really great memories together. As a mother, how am I teaching my son about money? This is a loaded question. I'm constantly learning more about money myself, of course. But the big thing with teaching my son about money, I think, is just allowing him to be a part of the conversations in our household around money. So my husband and I have a money date every week, and we talk about, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's not always a great conversation. It's a hard conversation. But I think allowing my son to be in on those conversations, or at least in the room, will help him to not be afraid of money conversations, because I think I really was afraid for a lot of years to talk about money, because I grew up in a household with a single mom for a long time who was always nervous about money. So I do allow my son to be a part of the conversations and just listen in. And the other thing, of course, he has a savings account at the bank, and we have a little cash account here at home. And I try to explain to him, reserving a little bit of money for savings, having a little bit of money to spend, and also having some money to potentially invest. And of course, that's a big word at 8 years old. So we talk about that. And also about tithing, giving money away to causes that you care about. I think that's really important to make money a vehicle for support in the things that you think are important. And can I think of a specific teachable moment with my son that I was able to give him a lesson about money? I would say there's just teachable moments, every single day. But most recently, my son was sort of wanting to make a big purchase. And one of the items was really a frivolous thing. I think it was like Pokemon cards, which, don't even get me started on Pokemon. But the other purchase that we were talking about was upgrading his bike, because his bike has lots of problems and he needs a new one. And we told him that if he put in a little bit of money, we would obviously front the rest. And I was trying to explain to him that, cards, he's going to get bored with in a couple days. But the bike we're going to use all the time, because we live on our bikes in the summer. And I just talked about all the things that having a good bike was going to be able to afford him as far as enjoyment through the nice weather months. So I think that was a really good lesson, was just talking about that the things we buy don't all have the same quality or meaning in our life. And so finally, what I like to say to my own mother this Mother's Day, oh my gosh, what can you say that could possibly express how incredible our mothers are? So I just want to say thank you, and that I wish I understood motherhood as I do now as a mother when I was younger, because I think I would have been much more appreciative of my mother. Because let's face it, right? Motherhood can feel so thankless a lot of days. It's hard work. It's the toughest job you'll ever love. And I didn't really understand how hard motherhood was until I became a mother. So becoming a parent definitely gives you perspective. And yes, just buckets of thanks to my mother, because she is incredible. And I'm just so lucky to have her as a mom.
Today's episode of Profit Boss Radio was brought to you by Ignite Investing. If it's time to release all that financial anxiety and make sure you're on the right path to financial success by hiring a comprehensive wealth management team, and you have between $25,000 and $499,000 to invest, go to igniteinvesting.com now and click Get Started today. For today's show notes, visit hillaryhendershot.com. And if you love Profit Boss Radio, please share the show with your friends, and of course, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Until next time, I wish you much prosperity.